take great pride on. So I'll go right into what we are. We liken ourselves in Power so you can get the concept, so it's all brand new, right? And what we always say, Tony, is that we're a consumer advocacy group. Now, Josh, you're a young guy, and your first name again? Henry. Henry, do you ever see Consumer Reports?
Yeah.
No. Yeah, most young people don't. They don't have a clue. The only time you're paying attention is when you're getting older and you see this on CBS or NBC News and they say, Consumer Report says, it's the largest consumer advocacy organization in the country. We liken ourselves in that, and they cover everything. And what they are is a nonprofit, and what they do is buy everything that they evaluate, and they put it through every rigorous kind of test you can think of, and they rate it, and they can read all about it. So, in fact, what I like was this one, because we are all about money too, right? See how that says grow your savings, make more money with your 401k, how to avoid costly fees. So isn't that interesting? Consumer Reports. And then in this one in October, what's that saying?
Retirement reality check.
Retirement reality check. So they're always talking about money too, so do we. Because what we believe is, if you ask me what I do for a living.
What do you do for a living?
I make a profound difference in people's lives. How about you? You see, because that's what we're all about, and we do it through being an advocate for the consumer. Why? Because most people are too busy just doing a living, and they all have life essential services and don't even know what's right, what's wrong in life out there. So we just show them better ways to do it. And I'm a cheap guy, so let me define cheap. Because some of you say I'm not cheap. Yeah, I think you're all cheap. Let me define it. Okay, everybody's got a definition. I want the best value for my money. How many of you are cheap in this room? Okay, good. Are we 100%? So we're 100%. We're all cheap. So Empower was born when? 2 years ago. You asked a good question. I'm going to deviate for just a minute just to give you some history and why we even drifted into the utility business. So pure happen circumstance. Again, being retired, that Empower wasn't around. But now deregulation's happening. Do you know anything about deregulation, Josh?
I'll say no.
Frank honesty doesn't matter. You don't have to read no rocket science history here, and we get right to the bottom line. So Tony, deregulation is profound, because if you ever hear that, and do you know what it is?
No, not really.
Okay, and it doesn't worry, but when you hear that word, it's a buzzword. Pick your head up and listen. If you're an entrepreneur, you want to hear it, because anything that gets deregulated, there's a business opportunity around it. Huge. Why? Years ago, and I don't want to go through all history, but unfortunately, I'm the old guy in the room here right now. Tony, how young are you?
31.
All right, you're making me feel a little better, okay? But in any case, here's the deal. Not even you would remember this maybe, but back in the day, there was only about 6, 7 airlines. That's it. And you could go to Eastern, remember that airline? You ever hear Eastern Airlines, Pan Am? Okay, you'd go to them, and if you were flying from Southwest Fort Myers here to LA, it didn't matter what airline you went on, you were paying the same price. They locked it up, and they became a monopoly, even though they were separate companies. The government came and said, you can't do that. So they broke them up. They deregulated. When they break them up, what they had to do, they had to freeze their wages, their prices for like 2 years, or less 40% of the market got given up. The reason deregulation occurred is why you can fly now JetBlue, Spirit Air, Allegiant Air, Midwest, Frontier, name them. That's it. Same thing in phones. None of you know it. Your parents do. Your parents, back in the day, the only phone system they had was called Ma Bell. It was a round circle with a bell in it. And they controlled the whole market in the United States. And the government said, nah. Because everybody, see, when I was a kid, I had a party line in my house. That's a true story. You know what a party line is? Yeah, no, I'd be in my house, and it was the one you had to pick up off the wall, you had to spin dial it, I'd pick it up, and you'd be the neighbor, you'd be on my line. Hey, you gotta hang up. I need the phone. That was a party line. It's true. That's how bad that was. So you had to join. There was only one company, the Bell System. Then it got better, and everybody started affording their own phones. Well, they came to the government and said, that's not good. You're the only game in town. They said, monopolies are not good for the consumer. Right or right? Because they good for the company. Good for the shareholders, not good for the consumer. Exactly. So long story to make short, in that story, the government said, nah, you got to break up. They said, we'll do it. We'll do it ourselves. And so here's what they did. They became Baby Bells. You ever hear of Baby Bells? It became Bell South. That's where we are. Bell Pacific is the West. Bell Mid-Atlantic, Bell Atlantic. That's what they did. The government said that was very cute, not good enough. They deregulated them. And that's why, what cell phone do you have? Verizon? I have Sprint. What do you got? Sprint? T-Mobile? T-Mobile? Hey, look at that. The reason you all have that is because Ma Bell got slapped upside their head. Government did it. Deregulation is good. Well, folks, they're doing it in energy right now. Slow boat, it started being big when it started back in 2002. The granddaddy of them all is out in Texas. And it's deregulated there first. Deregulation means that the states, not the feds, are deregulating utility companies. Because right now, none of you live locally, Tony? Josh?
Yeah.
See, I bet you never look at your utility bill. You look at what you owe and you pay it. Now, isn't that amazing? You don't even look at why you're paying what you're paying. Am I right or right?
Right.
Well, you can say yes. Yeah. Okay, good. And you know why he does that, Tony? Because he doesn't have choice. That's why. What do you got to pay it or they're going to shut you off, right? And you don't even look at what the rate is. It doesn't matter. It is what it is. We think that stinks. So deregulation happens and the same thing. They came in, the state says nope, and they let free competition in. So here's what we do. We believe you should never pay retail for anything. How many of you agree with that? You can pay wholesale for anything. Should you pay wholesale?
Mhm.
Hello?
Yeah.
Fact. So when the utility started deregulating, we got in it. Now, I became a friend and a partner with a guy named Liebman. His name is Neil Liebman. He's an owner. Anybody follow baseball here? All right, so it won't mean anything to you. He's an owner in the Texas Rangers, and he sat on the executive board, still does. Sat there with Nolan Ryan until Nolan left a year ago, okay? And he owns a piece of the Grizzlies. This guy is not an athlete. He's a little guy. He's a Brooklyn Jewish guy that's down in Texas wearing boots, trying to be a big guy. Here's what he did. He's smart. He's a lawyer by trade. In the year 2002, when deregulation happened in the state of Texas, he formed and organized a company called Jexus Energy. Boom. Enron was just falling apart. He picked up a bunch of clients when that happened, when it deregulated, had a phone service, and in 3.5 years, he built his, I just want you to pay attention to the numbers now. You're a numbers guy, you're business people, you listen to this. He built his company in 3.5 years to be 167,000 customers. In Houston, Texas only. There's 6 million people there. That was his area. Forget the whole state of Texas, right in Houston. He got an offer to be bought out. Guess by who? Take a guess.
No.
You already know the answer.
I'm just gonna guess.
What was it? What was this company called?
His company was Jexus Energy.
And what was it?
He got bought out.
No, but I'm saying, what did the company do? It was an energy.
He replaced
Supplied
people's
energy.
energy. Yeah. Instead of you paying over there, Reliant
He got
Energy, you
bought out
see
by
the
GE?
Texas Rangers paying Reliant. Yeah, he got bought out by who?
GE.
No. They hadn't tell him. FPL, which really sucks because that's what you're paying.
Yeah.
Okay, who you have no choice on. They are all over the place, FP&L. And you know what they paid him? This is what put me in business with him right away. I said, oh, you got to be kidding me. When I heard these numbers, I said, forget about it. I'm right there because I like residual income. Greedy man right there, Tony. He's a greedy guy. He likes residual income. I heard that right away. My book of business, as soon as he said that, my book of business, that's what he was saying. He goes, I like that money. He wants trailers. He wants to get the old, and he's right. That's what you want to be in business for. Residual income means.
I understand what's in there.
Okay, very good.
I have a couple small businesses.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. Okay. So you get paid whether you like it or not for something you did a long time ago. You're still getting paid on. Well, every time someone pays their electric bill, guess who's getting paid? You. And I don't think anybody's not going to pay the electric bill, right? So he sold it for 167,000 customers, just under $100 million.
Damn.
Boom! He signed a 3-year non-compete. Couldn't get back into business. We happened to meet at the same time because I happen to represent some professional athletes, some of which played for the team too. And all of a sudden, bam! Neil and I become buds. He doesn't know how to market. We do. So we got right back into business again. He has Summer Energy from over in Texas. Isn't that amazing? See, so I saw a chance at for 167,000 customers, 100 million. Would you go to work, Tony? Oh man, that's a penny business. Now, we didn't get into all the kicks and jollies, okay? It is a business, and so we are in the energy business. We are in 14 states, okay? We also have a program that's in all 50 states, but it's a different kind of a program for the utility business. Here's how I look at it. Why would you not pay your own company to give electricity instead of paying somebody else? And by the way, Josh, do they send you a birthday card? Well, what are you doing business with that for? And you'll keep doing it because you have no choice, that's why. Now, when you have choice, you make a difference. 14 states, we can go in and compete for rates. The other states that are the balance of them, we do wind energy, renewable energy. So that was that. That's how we got in energy. Now, the utility advocate.
You're still in energy now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know why? Because now I'm going to go through the story because we're all about saving money. Once you save money, where are you supposed to put it? See, because we have I'm going to go right to it now. We have a profound belief that here's what's important in your life. How young are you?
29.
See, at 29. Wow, you look like you're 21.
Thank
Yeah, keep that up.
Mhm.
Here's the deal. What do you got in your retirement account right now?
you.
and how much is going toward principal. By the end of the first year, they paid their lender $12,000. Of that, nearly $9,000 went toward interest. That means that over 73% of the money Bob and Katie paid their lender in year one went toward nothing but interest. That's 73% of their payments up in smoke. And in year two, it doesn't look much better. Once again, Bob and Katie paid their lender over $12,000. And of that, more than $8,700 went toward paying interest. That means that in year two, over 72% of the Smiths' money went toward nothing but interest. Now let's fast forward to year 20. By year 20, Bob and Katie have paid over $243,000, but they still owe their lender over $97,000 in principal on their loan. That means that after paying all that money, the Smiths still owe almost half the original amount they borrowed. And by year 30, the amount Bob and Katie have paid their lender totals almost $365,000, of which nearly $165,000 went toward paying nothing but interest. That means that they paid their lender over 82% of the amount they originally borrowed just in interest payments. That's 82%. Quite a far cry from the warm and fuzzy feeling the Smiths had when they heard they got a 4.5% loan. So where do all the billions and billions of dollars homeowners are paying the banks in interest go? Exactly. Homeowners like Bob and Katie from all across the nation spend their lives making interest payments to the banks and wonder why they never get ahead. But guess what? It doesn't have to be this way anymore. What would you say that there is a simple online banking solution helping homeowners like you put an average of 18 years or more worth of mortgage payments back in their own pocket? How excited do you think people like Bob and Katie would be if instead of having to pay the $164,000 in interest payments, $63,000, the same amount of interest they would pay if they had just a 1.9% fixed rate on their mortgage? That's nearly $102,000 in interest payments they would save. And their house would be clear in just 12 years. Thanks to our online banking solution, Bob and Katie would be done making mortgage payments in just 12 years. What could you do with over 18 years of mortgage payments you no longer have to pay to the bank? Just imagine the possibilities. And you don't have to refinance. You don't have to change banks. You don't have to increase your minimum monthly payment. And you don't have to modify your mortgage or change your mortgage terms in any way. Freedom you would have if you no longer had to make mortgage payments to anyone. Don't waste another minute. Watch the corresponding overview video right now to get a thorough look at how this life-changing program works. And for more information and a free report that shows you exactly how much time and money this amazing online banking solution can save you, call us toll-free right now. The only thing you have to lose is years off your debt.
You just said we have two other videos that back that up when it shows them exactly the system that we usually call it a financial GPS system. Now, do you use a GPS system in your car? Why? Right. See, now, can everybody do this on their own? Probably not, because when you see it, if you have 5 different loans, if you have a car note, if you've got credit cards, if you've got a hospital bill, college loan, and a mortgage, there's about, how many different ways to pay that, Paul?
For 5?
Yes.
148
150 ways to pay your bills. What's the most effective way? We've done this with algorithm math, and see, our whole story tonight is all about the math, and it's about the story. Why? Because Josh, as you know, math doesn't lie. We do. People do. 2 and 2 is what?
4.
4 and 4? That's pretty good. 10 and 10 is? It's never going to change, is it? But it's amazing how financial guys always twist those numbers. We'll prove that to you later. See, we believe in just the truth. Make math work for you, then understand the story. See, when you can get the math and why it works, then you have to understand the story. Like, how can this be true, what you're telling us? How is this done? Why is it done? Where's the history? We give you that tonight, that's all. So you know what's real, so you can delve into it even further. Debt sucks. It's a big way. If we get people out of debt in 12 years, Drew, from paying their mortgage and all their other bills, what are we going to tell them to do with that money?
Put it in their retirement.
Exactly. Move it right over. Bam, is that money working for them? Right or right?
Right.
So you see all the areas that we keep going at? We got several others, but what I want to do is turn it over now to Ryan and come up and talk to you about really how money works and show you the different concepts we have. And we're going to get right into our principles, and then we're going to teach you our strategies that we use. And then we'll take some questions from you later. How's that? Fair enough? So Ryan, come on up and go right into Rule 72. Sure. Josh, have you ever seen the Rule 72 before? You have all the time? Do you use it? Okay, here we go.
How about you? Nothing else? Never? All right. That'd be great. This thing loads. All right, Rule 72. So you guys are familiar with Rule 72. Henry, it's new to you. You ever heard of a guy named Albert Einstein? Okay, good. I thought so. He is the one who came up with this. He was a math wizard, a physics guy, and he came up with the theory of relativity too, which is pretty profound, I think. And he actually said that this mathematical law was the most powerful math equation that was ever brought to mankind, according to Einstein himself. He also called it the eighth wonder of the world, just because of the impact that it could have on understanding what compounding interest does and how it works. And that's what the Rule 72 is. It's the effect of how compounding interest works on your money. And what you do is you take 72 and you divide into it the interest rate that you're getting. So if you're getting 2%, you divide 72 by 2, 36 is your result, and that's how many years it's going to take for your money to double. So we're going to go into some example here. So, Paul, you're 23, aren't you? All right, Paul's 23. We're going to just use this example of how it works, Rule 72. 23-year-old, 5,000 bucks in the bank. And this is my bank. Like when you get a check, where do you put it right away? In the bank, right? And so does everybody else. Now, do you know what you're getting on your savings account in the bank? No. Not at all. It's probably, you guys? 0.0035. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, so at 0.5%, it would take 144 years for your money to double. So just to put that into perspective, 0.0035 is a whole lot longer than that. You don't want to wait that long. But since this is the Bank of Ryan here, I'm going to give you 2% on your money. Let's pretend you're 23. 2%, so I'm starting, that's 36 years, it's going to double. 72 divided by 2 is 36. You're 23 years old, you got $5,000 in the bank. Let's double it out. 36 years later, we're at 10,000. 36 years later, you're at 95 years old, and you're at $20,000. How do you feel about that? Pretty good? What are you going to buy with that at 95? Probably nothing, right? Maybe a loaf of bread, some peanut butter and jelly for camping. Woohoo! Right? That's very sarcastic. Yeah, I get that. We'll lay that out for you. So because this is my bank, Henry, I'm going to make a deal for you. I'm going to give you 6% instead. I'm just going to bump it up because I'm feeling good. I gave you a free iPod when you signed up for the account. And a unicorn, stuffed unicorn. That's what Wells Fargo's doing right now. So 6%, 72 divided by 6 is 12 years. So all I did was I increased it. I tripled the interest rate, and I cut the doubling time into 1/3 of what it was. So take a guess. What are you going to have as a 23-year-old with 5,000 bucks in the bank? At 95, what's your account looking like? $60,000.
You said it's 60, triple it, so yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm not gonna ask you guys because I know you're not that good. All right. No, I will. Josh, tell me. What's your guess? 95 years old.
160.
160.
Give or take.
Tony, you got a guess? That much. 160. All right. Let's go. I'll make you guys a deal though. Before I go, I'm gonna give you guys all the money that what you wanted. 160. 160. You guys are getting it. You're getting your 60. I'm keeping all the change on top. It's my bank. I'm making the rules, right? I gave you the iPods. So you're happy with it. All right, 35, you're at 10 grand. 47, 20 grand. 59, 40 grand. 71, 80 grand. 83, 160. Thank you guys. It's making my day now. 95, $320,000. Thank you, everyone. I just made $160,000. Yeah, it is. It is. We're gonna make you guess though, make it work here. We don't charge you to come here. We just charge you in labor. Math. There it is. 72 divided by 8. I'm the bank. We're gonna go to reality now. So the market over the last 30 years has done a little bit over 8%, and this will put it into perspective for what reality is. So what that means is that I increased the percentage by 2 points, and I decreased the doubling time by 3 years. So Henry, what are you gonna have now at 95? Same 23-year-old, same.
I'm no good at math, man. I got no guess.
Go with no guess. You gotta have some kind of guess. Come on. All right, Josh, give me one.
2.4.
2.4. So you went from 160 all the way up to 2.4.
Double with a double.
Yeah.
Double with a double with a double.
All right, you got a guess, Tom?
Yeah. Your money's done me every 9 years. It's a lot of time.
Yeah, it
It's
is.
a lot of money.
All right, let's just do it. 32 is 10,000, 20,000, 40,000. 59 years old, you're at 80. 68, 160, 77, 320, 86, 640, and you're sitting at $1.28 million.
Now I'm at double.
Now you might be pushing up daisies by that point, hopefully not, but this is just an example of what's going on with your money in the bank. This is what's happening. So the impact of interest and compounding interest is pretty significant. A lot of people don't understand that. So Henry, I'll ask you, if you're going to choose one, you're going to choose A, you're going to choose B.
B.
This is what they're giving them at 95 years old. In the meantime, the Bank of Ryan over here is putting your money somewhere else while you give it to them to use, and they're making $1.28 million. That means they're making a $1.26 million profit on your money sitting in the bank just because nobody knows any better. They, you give it to them willingly. That's why it's legal. Everybody's doing it just because it's the thing to do, right? So that's why we call it legalized extortion, because they ain't going to tell you about that. You ever go to big cities and look up when you're looking around, it's every big, huge building, what kind of building is it? It's a bank. Bank or an insurance company. Every single one. Now you know why. That's what they're doing. So we're talking about Rule 72. We're talking about the compounding effect of money. And that was in a perfect world right there. That's if your money doubled the same amount every single year all the way throughout. We all know that that doesn't happen, right? So we refer to this book, and I'll just go through it real quick. The market over the last 15 years, what was it like? Tony, what was it like?
Took a big hit in 08.
Yeah, it was crazy, wasn't it? So I'll just go through some of the first ones. 2000, negative 10%. 2001, negative 13%. 2002, negative 23%. Then you got a few years of good years. You got 26 gain. You got an 8% gain, 3% gain. And 3% is the average rate of inflation every year. So if you're making 3%, you're really not doing well at all. You're basically canceling, breaking even. So then 2008, negative 38%, ridiculous. Then it bumps back a little bit. 2011 is 0%. So we got 4 years out of the 12 listed here, 2002, 2012, all double-digit negatives. 1 year's a 0, and 2 of them are 3 or just above 3. So 7 out of 12 years are horrible there. Do you agree, Henry? So that's why we can't just go off of Rule 72, because that's not what reality is, right? So what is a loss? What does that do to you? We're going to do 1 year loss here. So 72, we're going to use 7.2 as our interest rate. 72 divided by 7.2 is 10 years, just to make it simple. So how does that look? You start with $1,000, you get $72 in the first year, because that's 7.2% interest rate. In year 10, you're sitting at $2,000. The perfect world, right? So here we go, 72, 7.2%, 10 years again. We're going to do a 5% loss in the second year, and that's it. The only thing we're going to do this. So 0, you're at 1,072. Now you get hit in year 2 here with a loss of 5%. In year 3, 4, 5, let's double it all the way out to 10. And you end with $1,776. Is there anything weird to you about that, Henry?
You won't earn much, for sure.
Josh, what do you think? What's weird about 1776 besides the birth of the United States? That's not what I'm getting at.
You lose $300.
Right, but that's not 5%, is it? 5%. We had 1 year of a 5% loss, right? And a broker might tell you, okay, don't worry about it, 5%, you'll come back from that. We're good, chill, it's okay. So we lose it here, we get down here, you didn't actually just lose 5%, you lost a total of 11.4% of what you would have had that loss not occurred. So what we're getting at is you never get your money back. When a loss happens, it's gone forever, right? Because what happens is you're not, when you're growing at 7.2, here you're growing on 1,149, and here you're growing off a smaller number, right? So your returns on that money are going to be less. So the compounding effect of interest on your money works not only on the upside, but it also works on the downside. So that's something that people, it gets by them a lot. They don't realize how detrimental a loss can be. So imagine a year that lost 38%. Almost half of people's life savings. Did they actually just lose 38%? Nope. Double that out as the years go on. Imagine what they could have had that not happened to them. So that's one of the things that we really hit on. We want people to understand how detrimental that is. Then you go out to year 20, and you're still, with all that growth, 7.2% every year, you're still 11.4% less than what you would have had. So we like to talk about that and just put it into perspective for people. There's the grumpy cat of finance. He's not very happy about losing more than he actually thought. So here's a real life example. Now we're going to put all the pieces together. What does a retirement plan actually look like? You're investing from age 35 to 65. That's 30 years, $500 per month, 10% rate of return per year. And this is just for example's sake. That's a pretty high rate of return, average rate of return, wouldn't you say? Yeah. So $500 per month, that's $6,000 per year over a period of 30 years. Anybody got a guess of what that might be in the end? It's hard math, so let's just do it. It's going to be $1.78 million. Pretty blue number, right? Did you do pretty well, Henry, off of $1.78 million? You'd be living pretty comfortably, I'd think. So that's the pretty blue number. But what we got to deal with is reality here. So we just talked about market loss. This isn't a perfect world. So when Broker Joe goes and gives you your run and says, okay, average rate of returns in the market are, in this example, 10%. They're going to run it out and say, this is what your account might look like at the end of 30 years. $1.8 million, you are A-OK to retire. Feel good about yourself because you're doing the right things, right? All right, Josh? Yeah. So in reality, let's just do this. We're going to put 1 year. In the first year, we're going to lose 5%. In the second year, we're going to lose 10%. That's it, over 30 years. Is that pretty ridiculous? I mean, being that we just said over the last 12, there was 7 years that were bad. We're going to do 2 out of 30. Completely conservative. Do you agree, Tony? Okay. Now we're going to go to commissions and fees. The average fees and commissions on a regular brokerage account, 401ks, IRAs, 403bs, all that stuff is from 3 to 5%. And there's 12 to 17 different fees built within those plans. And what people aren't realizing, they'll read their prospectus or their paper that they got to sign. The secretary slides it across the table, and then they sign it. They say, would you like to opt out of your retirement benefits? If not, sign here. What does that sound like? Who's not going to do that, right? And so they sign the dotted line, and they don't even realize that really they're paying 3 to 5%. We actually had a teacher that we talked to a couple weeks ago who had her 403B, and we talked to the HR department. HR lady was like, oh, we don't do that. It's less than 1, it's about 1% or less, maybe 1.5, something like that. But they're not paying 3 to 5%, no way. So we had her go print out the prospectus document, which was about this thick, had her turn to one of the pages and say, look right there, what does that say? Turns out that this teacher we were working with was paying 5.5% over that last calendar year. And she had no idea, and neither did the HR lady. So nobody even knows, and they don't have to disclose this stuff. That's not how it works. So people are paying 3 to 5% of fees. We're going to use 1.5 for this example, being pretty conservative again, cutting it directly in half. So the next thing you got to think about is tax loss. The average tax bracket is 25%. We're going to sit it right there just to be conservative again. So after all these things, $1.8 million, it's probably not going to be that anymore. Would you agree? Okay, so after all this happens, what do you think you're gonna have left, Henry?
No guess.
No guess.
A lot
You gotta
less. I'm
guess.
not good at that. I have to write it down and do the math.
Josh, give it to me.
600 grand.
600 grand, Tony? About that? You gave me the answer. I saw you do that. You guys are cheating over there. So your ending balance is $588,000. Good guess. So they'll show you this. Broker Joe says $1.8 million. You're doing great. You're left with $588,000. How do you feel about that?
Almost that.
But you still got $588,000, right?
Yeah.
So you feel okay?
I'll be all right.
And you wouldn't know any better anyway.
Yeah.
What really you should be thinking about is that you just gave and paid other people $1.2 million. Is that okay with you? Not at all, right? And if you're going to give it to anybody, give it to me because I'm going to go on a lot of vacations and have a great time with it. But $1.2 million, you should never throw that away. And that's what we preach here. Do not throw out your money and give it and pay it to other people if you don't have to. So we have a strategy to help deal with all these things. And
Let me see if I can find a good pen here.
you guys see all that? Okay. So how do we get returns and try to achieve a pretty blue number that Broker Joe is going to show you while still dealing with reality, the market loss, twisting the fees, the tax loss? So we implement a offensive and defensive strategy. Have you ever heard of Bear Bryant? Yeah? You heard of Bear Bryant? Is that contagious? That's all do. So Bear Bryant was a head coach of Alabama, very successful, very famous coach. And one of his famous quotes is, "Offense sells tickets and defense wins national championships." So we apply that same principle in terms of talking about finance and planning for your future. So defensive strategy, we talked about what reality is. I can't spell, but that's not important. One, we got to deal with market loss. We got to try to not lose money. Warren Buffett, anybody know Warren Buffett? You guys know Warren Buffett? One of his quotes is, his number one rule of money is don't lose any money. His number two rule of money is see rule number one. That's how important it is to him. And I'm going to listen to a guy who is the king of investing. That's him. He's been more successful than anybody almost. So number two, so don't lose money if you don't have to. Number two, fees and commissions. I'm just going to do that. So even 1% of fees on your account when you're saving it for retirement will eat away 28% of your account value over the life of your account. 28%. So just imagine what 3 to 5% would do to your money. That's more than half of your money going out the window because you're sliding your money across the table to somebody. And when you do that, Henry, you tell me, who carries the risk? When you sign up for a brokerage account, who carries all the risk? You do. And whether he wins or loses, you still have to pay him every time, right? So let me get this straight. You signed the dotted line, slid your life savings across the table and said, I'll take the risk, you play with that, and I'll pay you every time you do something, whether you win or lose, no matter what. Does that sound like a smart plan? I don't think so either. So we got to combat high commissions and fees because they're eating people's accounts away to people who are irresponsible and just playing with their money because they get paid every time anyway, and they don't care. So number three, moving on to tax loss. We're all related in this room. I don't know if you guys knew it because we all have. Do you know why we're related? Uncle Sam. Uncle Sam. We all have the same uncle. Exactly. So they always say there's two things you can't avoid in life, and it's death and taxes, right? So that's not necessarily true. But that's what we got to deal with. This is reality. How are we going to defend against these three things? And in the meantime, we can't just think about defense because we got to think about offense too. You can't win the game unless you score some points. So offense, number one, we need growth. We need our money to grow so we can try to at least get close to this pretty blue number that the guy's going to show you. Number two, we need that growth so that we can provide income for ourselves in the future. You got to live off something. So when you build up that savings account, you're going to have to pay yourself when you're no longer working and you're hopefully going on vacation to Hawaii or something. Number three, we got to provide safety. We don't want to lose money if we don't have to. We don't want to lose more than we have to. We don't want to lose 38% in a matter of a week of your entire life savings. So we got to provide safety for that money. 4, liquidity. Henry, if you put your money away, you work hard to save it, you think you should be able to get access to it whenever you want?
Yes.
Can you do that now? What do you have to do in order to put your money out?
I have to keep penalty.
A penalty, 10% penalty plus the taxes on that money. So literally, if you had $10,000 put away, say you want to buy a house, you're in the 25% tax bracket. They're going to give you $7,500 back and then say, oh wait, you're not 59.5 yet, and we technically own that money. So I'm taking another 10% off the top. So they're going to give you $6,500 when you're trying to take out 10. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Does it make sense to you? Oh, okay. So liquidity, it's your money. You should be able to get it whenever you need it for whatever the heck you want. That's what we said. And 5, we want tax efficiency. And really what we're trying to get at is getting tax-free money. And that's kind of something difficult to wrap your head around because death and taxes, right? There's ways around it. So with that, I'll show you what we're talking about, because where do you go to get all this? Is I okay to erase that? So here we're looking at red line, blue line. And real quick, I'll tell you what this is. This is called an IUL. And this is just one of the things that we do out of a whole range of stuff. So we're using this as an example because it happens to be one of the most powerful vehicles that there are right now in terms of achieving all the goals that we just set. And if you sit with somebody and they say you put those defensive and offensive strategies in front of them and they can't hit every single one of those on the head, turn around and run. If they can't do it, why are you working with them? Because it doesn't make any sense. You want to achieve all those things, don't you? Okay. So an IUL, it's called Index Universal Life. Number 1, it gives you life insurance, which is a disgusting subject. Nobody likes to talk about it, but that's one of the things that makes this possible, and I'll go into that in a second. Number 2 is living benefits, which everybody needs. This is one of our crusades right here, very huge. And you guys will like this, and you probably know about it already somewhat. But only 18 out of 2,700 companies in the U.S. are doing it right now, the way that we do it, and that's crucial. I'll go into it in a bit. 3 is tax-free retirement.